Hello, and welcome to RollBound. My name is Chas, and I am the DM for this wonderful group. We're going to go down the list and everyone introduce themselves, starting off with Groove. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Groove, and I am bound to the role of Chronoharist Mobius.
Alrighty, and Allie.
Hello, I am Allie. I am bound to the role of Charybdis Mobius.
Alrighty, Minnow.
Hello, my name is Minnow. I am bound to the role of Lady Reverie.
Awesome. Mickey.
Hi, I'm Mickey, and I'm bound to the role of Maria.
And last but never least, Joey.
My name is Joey, and I am bound to the role of Winfrey McNeil.
And they're just standing on either side of the gate.
Charybdis, would you... Chronoharist says, nodding to the guards.
Right. Charybdis begins to approach.
Oi, lass. Welcome to Snow's Reach.
Hello.
Are you here for business or pleasure?
Business mostly, and she, gives them a bright smile.
The one sort of like moves his spear and pokes the other one with like the butt of his halberd, and you see like a little electric shock off him, and it was like, "Oi, what was that for?" And the one goes, "You fucking idiot! Do you know who that is?" The one goes, "No." And the one goes, "That's the Mobius girl! The fuck are you doing?" And like you see him like flourish his hands, and the gates open.
Thank you, kind sirs. Charybdis will curtsy. And then,
Yeah, one of them rolled a natural 20 on a history check, so I just let that go.
Sick.
The other one rolled a natural 1.
Sick. The duality of man.
Yeah, so when you pass into this city, for one, it is gorgeous. The buildings are sort of made out of like a dark stone with this very colorful of multiple colors that are still sort of dim, with silver tracings, but the colors go from like these bluish gray stone buildings into these very brilliant like green, red, orange, yellow, purple, pink that are kind of framed by metal trims on all of the roofs, and some of them have sort of like bulbous into pointed shapes. Some buildings are kind of adorned with like figureheads of animals. There's a lot of gargoyles on some of the larger buildings. It is a beautiful place. It is filled with both color and, the buildings look reinforced, and it has sort of this ancient feeling to it as well, with a lot of magic. You all haven't been to a city in license yet. Chronoharist and Charybdis would know this, but all of the streets, like the sidewalks, the roads, are actually made out of crystal that glows. So, while it is pretty much fully morning, there's still a soft glow sort of guiding the way for the roads. There are no street lamps as they are fully replaced with the road's crystal light that sort of guides traffic, both foot and cart, along.
I love this place.
Yeah, the front of the city holds the Diamond District. So you actually see a lot of buildings with this sort of like crystal diamond shape on the sides of their buildings. A lot of the decorations, like the banners, the flags, are decorated with sort of diamond-themed things. There's a few like jewelry shops that kind of line the place. Mostly residential though, but there's a few things, like a shop and inn. But this is mostly a residential district for, you assume, more rich people. Not quite noble status, but people that are a little bit more well-off. Even just by the culture of the people walking down the streets. There is anyone who is more keen to magic. This place feels magical just by being in it. From right here would take you about 2 hours. No, 3 hours, right? 2.5? Yeah, 2.5 hours to ride to the Crowley estate.
Okay. On the way, Can Chrono Harris sell this hide and find a jeweler?
Yeah, do y'all want to stop real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, so Chrono Harris, actually, right
Chrono
next
Harris
to
needs
each other, you see the, it's called the Diamante General Goods Store, which is right next to, licensed jewelers. It's not even fancy names, there's just licensed jewelers and then Diamante General Store. And they're, like, literally right next to each other. They actually look like they're combined together, like they're meant to be, like, one big store split into two sections. The windows are, like, there's, like, a big front-facing window that is, like, made up of multiple squares that are all different colors. And they sort of blend together into this collage of images going into a glass double door. And you can see through the glass double door that the floors are split down directly in the middle to be two different colors to separate the two different shops, even though they take up one building.
Yeah, you will enter and careful to step only on the glass the shop he needs. He will offer up the hide for sale.
Yeah, you see a elven woman in there, and she's actually playing like a mini harp, and she goes, "Oh!" And she like adjusts very small spectacles and goes, "Oh, pardon me."
Charybdis goes with him, by the way.
You're pardoned. Buy this.
What is it?
It's the hide of a... what are these things called? Iceworms?
Oh, they're frost salamanders.
Frost salamander.
Frost salamanders, there you go. Yeah. There.
She like looks you up and down, and then looks at Charybdis up and down, and then looks at the hide and just goes, "Did you steal it?"
No.
No, none of business. Let me see.
Yeah, I'll hand over the 4 feet of hide.
Yeah, she'll take it, and then you'll see her, like, turn around to this wooden stand and, like, kind of throw one end over it and let the rest of it fall down, being unrolled. And she'll look it over, you know, kind of, like, tracing her fingers along it. And, like, as you trace her finger along it, you see this magic wavelength come off of her fingertips and sort of envelop it. And then she goes, I can give you 150.
150. Charybdis, is this an acceptable quantity?
Can I take an insight roll to see if she's taking the piss?
Yeah.
And I just want to clarify, we did technically level up after that long rest.
Oh, I gotta tell y'all that. Y'all can do it whenever you need to. You did level up after that combat and after that long rest.
Okay, in that case, I'm going to spend a sorcery point to reroll that ability check.
Yeah. Sorry, Allie asked me about it, but I was waiting for y'all to finish your thing. I apologize. You did level up.
That's a 19 total.
You kind of think it over, and at first you're like, I don't know, it doesn't sound a lot, but then you think about the fact that they were adolescent, and that it's not fully damaged, but it's not a lot, so like 150 is actually a pretty good price for what y'all gave her. In that bunch.
Chrono Harris, seeing that Charybdis is genuinely pondering the question, will, like, give this intense stare to give the hint that he wants Charybdis to barter.
Charybdis, just at this point, kind of puts a dainty hand against the counter and then just leans in and says, "And you're sure that's the best you can do?"
Make me a persuasion check.
I will do that. That is a 23.
I rolled a 12, so... Oh, well... Shall I look it over again and go, I guess I can raise it to 250?
You've got yourself a deal.
Yeah, you see her, like, flourish her fingers, and the thing rolls up, and then she takes out a, you notice that the sack that she gets out is very fancy. It's, like, white felt with, like, a purple ribbon around it. And you see her put the gold in and then tie it up nice and pretty, like she ties it into a literal bow and squeezes it and then sets it down and goes, "Pleasure doing business."
Chrono Harris takes the gold and leaves.
Do we see anything interesting in this general store?
Make me a quick investigation check.
You said the jeweler is in the
Yes,
same
in the same building.
location?
There's another counter on the opposite side of the building, like perfectly parallel to this one.
15.
You look around and it's a pretty general store. There's some stuff that's more like vanity. Like, there's clothing stuff that's, like, no better than what you have. It just is meant for show. There's winter coats. There's, there's, like, decorative... There's, like, potions that are more decorative than anything else. There's shifting tea grass holders that are literally made to just be fancy. You can tell that this is a place for, like, people that spoil themselves more than practicality. Like, it has all the stuff you normally need, it's just spiffied up to probably either be more presentable looking or more expensive or both.
Gotcha. So they have like food items and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case...
The food area is actually really cool. It looks like there's a giant geode that they cut out the middle of it to make room for shelvings, and there's like double glass doors in it, and you can tell that it's like being kept cold.
Do they have any licorice root?
A shelf like next to that, they have like little jars of things like that, yeah. Like little mason jars.
Charybdis will ask the shopkeeper, how much for a licorice root?
5 gold.
Charybdis shrugs and says,
Corona Harris puts down 5 gold.
She'll take it and put it away.
Charybdis is going to take the licorice root and is going to take out the wire sphere and spin it in this gray-like energy sort of opens up in it. She pops the licorice root in, and it gets disintegrated and absorbed into the sphere itself.
I don't know what you just did, but have a good day.
In case anybody was wondering where the material components for Charybdis' spells came from, now you know.
General stores?
Yes. Exactly.
Did you need anything from
Great.
the jewelers, Crona Harris?
Corona Harris did indeed. He will go to the jeweler's, looking around. I need calcium carbonate and some kind of conchiolin.
The what? That is DM. That is me. That is me not knowing what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh. Do you have any pearls?
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. The man behind the counter is this, like, fucking drow with, like, combed back white hair, with multiple piercings in both his face and his, ears that, like, are fucking practically glowing because they're all made out of, like, straight up opalite. And he goes, "Oh, me? Oh, of course. I got all kinds of pearls."
Give me one worth... stout. This much. And sticks down 100 gold pieces.
You bet. Give me just 1 second, hon. And you see him, like, open up a drawer, a very fancy, like, fucking ornate drawer, and you, like, see him go, oh, and it literally looks like he's literally looking at, like, what do pearls come out of? Is it clams, mollusks? What is it? Clams, thank you.
Clams!
Should not fucking remember that.
Clams.
And it literally looks like there's clams in here, which normally would sound disgusting because that means they're not refined, but then you see him, like, tap it, and you hear this weird noise, and you see it open up, and there's just a perfectly... It's fucking shining, just perfectly minted pearl, and he takes it out and then goes, "Thank you, baby," and then, like, taps the clam and it closes, and then he... Like, it literally looks like there's water in there, like there's a simulated pond in this little fucking drawer. And then he closes it and goes, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And then he puts it in like a little glass box, like a little like cube. And then he sets it down and switches the gold and goes, "Thank you very much. Was there anything else you needed?"
No. Thank you. Corona Harris leaves.
And yeah, was that all y'all needed?
Yes.
Cool. So you make
Or not.
the rest of your trip to the Crowley estate?
Maria also want to sell her hide.
Maria?
While we're waiting, does the jeweler have any, like, really nice necklaces?
Oh yeah. They're all ridiculously expensive, but yes.
Or how ridiculous is this?
They range anywhere from 200 to 2,000 gold.
Oh,
Again, wealthy neighborhood.
I'm nobility, damn it. I shouldn't have to put up with this.
Nobility, damn it.
I guess, actually, I think what this would do is... Oh, no, that wouldn't work either. Alright, never mind.
So y'all continue on?
Oh wait, Maria, did you have something to add, or did you just want to sell it for what we talked about earlier?
Yeah, I do want to make a persuasion check to try to get that higher.
Alright. Go ahead and roll it for me.
Yeah.
Hard shit.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Would you...
It's gonna be a 24.
Yeah, the elf behind the counter sort of just goes, "Oh, no, now that I think of it, this is very well preserved, very good specimen. I will raise by 100 gold.
So 600 for the lot?
Yes."
You getting ripped off.
Alright.
Yeah.
They had 250 for 4. You have 10, you're only getting 600? Damn, you should fucking throw a fit.
Yeah, I think
You wanna try it again?
You're getting somewhere else. Get the hell out of
Make me
here.
another one.
Wait, hold
Natural 20.
Never mind.
Yeah, so tell me how you try to convince her to raise it more.
I think Maria would be like, no, look at it closely. It's very well done. It's like probably professionally cut clean from the young. It's a very beautiful color. I bet you can sell it for way more than that.
She kind of like looks at it more closely and goes, "Oh, how about this? I'll give it to you for 800 flat, no further."
That's good.
That's
conversion.
that's very good.
Yeah. Maria's gonna kind of like rub her chin a bit, like looking like she's thinking about it. Be like, all right.
Yeah,
That
so same
sounds
thing,
good.
She takes out this really pretty like little white pouch with a purple ribbon and puts in the money and then ties it up and then hands it over.
Now it's Charybdis that got ripped off. Or Chronoheris.
Chrono Sheriff.
That's the one. I don't know what that's a reference to, but I'm happy for you.
It's because he messed up when he was saying the name of one of his abilities, and he said like Chrono Sure something, and his name is Chrono Harris, so it sounds like Chrono Sheriff when he messes up his words.
Wonderful.
Can't
So
believe we're bullying Groove.
Yeah.
How long were they in there negotiating?
10-15 minutes.
Oh, beautiful. 10 minutes, you say. So, while they're all in there, doing their business, what is Winfrey doing?
What are we doing? What time
It's
is
like
it?
8 in the morning. No, about 10 in the morning, based on travel time. My apologies.
How hot is it out right now?
How hot is it? Not at
Yeah.
all. It's actually quite nippy.
Not at all?
This is licensed.
License is snowy as fuck!
Okay, I think I can make this work then.
So are you making your thing?
So then, yeah, I'm working on it. I guess in that case, actually, she would be preparing the sauce at this point. So while everyone is out and about doing their shopping things, Winfrey is going to get various. Is going to probably not only is she going to be shopping for these, but if there's anything that we have on hand, she's going to be using a citrusy fruit, like the rind of a citrusy fruit, on top of various bean and wheats to make a sauce. It's a very sweet and citrusy sauce that pairs well with the dinner she's going to make tonight. And then once that is done, if everyone is still out and about, she is going to take her now featherless duck and she is going to attempt to hotbox it inside of a obviously she would roast it over a fire first, but then she's going to attempt to put it inside of a heated box for it to dry and get super crispy.
Alright. Yeah, you can wedge it in between the two seats of the front of the carriage so that way it gets sunlight when y'all are driving around.
Yeah, and it's got to be inside of some kind of contained space. I don't know what kind of insulated containers that we have, but I assume just some kind of even if it's just a bag that I wash out. Basically, it should still be fine. It just needs to be something that retains heat so that it dries and
Yeah, I'm
stays
sure
hot.
you'll have something that'll work out.
If
I'm not worried
Winfrey
about it.
mentions what she's doing, Charybdis can use prestidigitation to heat up the box and keep it warm.
Hey, let's do that.
Yeah, so like Charybdis gets back to the cart after doing like the mini shopping trip and then like sees what Winfrey's doing.
Yeah. Winfrey, what are you doing?
I'm trying to make sure that this roasted duck stays nice and dry and hot so that the skin is crispy later when we eat it.
I think I can help with that, actually. Charybdis focuses on it, and on each face of the... We said box, so I'm gonna go with box. Just a little clock face appears and starts ticking, and Winfrey can feel a bit more heat just radiating off of the box.
Alright, good. It's gonna need to stay heated like this all day. It's not cooking anymore. I already cooked it up and roasted it. It just needs to stay hot and dry so that it gets crispy.
Fair enough.
Longer it stays in there, better it'll, well, not the better it'll taste, but the best, the crunch, the texture, be perfect.
I like listening to Winfrey get unhinged about her cooking.
Absolutely unhinged.
Well, for each cast, I can make it last up to an hour or so. I mean, at Chast's discretion,
Yep. So do y'all continue making your journey to the sort of midst of the city?
No,
Yes.
because I'm an asshole, and I wanted to do something while Winfrey was out there. I just wanted to know what Winfrey was up to, so to see if she would see this. The answer seems like no. She's concerned about Duck. But while Reverie is sitting up front with the horses, she's like brushing them down, patting them, keeping a close eye on the cart as she is the bodyguard. But she's singing to herself, just kind of like whispering, not whispering, just like little la la las and like occasionally words. And every now and then she says, little rhymes that seem like they're a part of a bigger ballad, but then she kind of like loses the punchline and lets it go. And eventually, as she's sitting there singing to herself, enough time has passed that she has forgotten why she's here, which is to say roughly 3 minutes. And I think that she sees like this kid walking with a dog, and just like, oh wow, and like follows from a distance, just like looking at the dog, and then eventually like finds herself down an alleyway, just sort of humming to herself again, and then almost as if she's remembering something from long ago, she remembers that she once knew a dog as well that was a good friend to her, and almost instinctually she sings out just the last verse in that little melody she had been humming. Says, Bartleby the Bold, lend me your heart in my darkness. Few minutes pass. You all are waiting at the cart. Reverie is not there. And then you see, from far away, you see Reverie seemingly high up above the rest of the crowd. Not sure how she's like this much higher up as she's coming down the street. And then the crowd clears, and you see that she is currently atop a large, what we would know as a Scottish deerhound, with a brilliant golden monocle over his one eye. And she is bounding down, singing very loudly the ballad of Bartleby the Bold, as she comes back to the cart, as if nothing wrong has happened. It says, right, are we ready to go?
The boring ballad.
No. What is that?
This is Bartleby.
Elaborate.
I don't know how much more clear I can be.
What? Why? How?
Who and where and when. Those are the ones you're missing.
Yes, we're
Are we
ready
ready to go? Great. And she will continue down the road. The very dignified, poised-looking Bartleby going with her, his head held high, proud of his stature as the mount. Yeah, you let me know that we turned level 5. I had to fucking get that out of the way as soon as possible.
I'm sorry. What is Bartleby?
Irish deerhound. I put a picture of one of those in references.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That is Bartleby the Bold.
Hell yeah.
Yep. And as we're going down the street, she's like talking to him, trying to just like catch up. Like, so how you been, Bartleby? I feel like it's been so long. Sorry, I forgot you again. And just like going on like that, and he does not respond as he is dog. But seemingly like he can, she just keeps prattling on to him, very excited. Now we can go to the fucking castle.
Yeah, so real quick.
You know what? I'm gonna save it.
Real quick.
Never mind.
Charybdis, make me a survival check to see if you remember where the Crowleys live. Unacceptable.
Oh.
Yeah, so Charybdis, you're sort of telling everyone which way to go, what turns to take. It's been a while since you've been there, but you remember it perfectly. Maybe out of the anxiety that you're going to the Crowley's house, or maybe out of the excitement that you're going to the Crowley's house. It could be both. But you know exactly where it is.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, yeah.
After a few hours of just sort of traveling, going down the road, seeing the rest of the city, you even pass by licenses in General's Parliament building, which is a very large, imposing building that sort of looks the same as all the others, but it is much larger, kind of as a round base. Looks like a whole-ass fortress, with flags waving down from it on most sides. The gates are closed as they're not allowing visitors currently, but you do see that. And then you come to this very large plaza in this mid-area of the city that has a giant, I mean giant, green crystal erupting from the ground, that is just glowing a bright, brilliant green, and you can feel, every single one of you can feel this magic just radiating off of it. It is a force to be reckoned with. It is a giant just mound of nothing but arcane energy. For those of you that may have not been to License 4, it's maybe a little overwhelming at first, but for those like Charybdis and Chrono Harris who literally live in License, it's not really that big of a deal. But it is just a empowering amount of magic. And then once you reach that crystal, you just hook a quick left and go down the street, and sort of isolated at the end of this road is a gated estate that sort of goes into... It looks much different than the others around it, and it has a very interesting like front yard, as it looks like it starts to have, instead of snow, regular grass, but it's dead grass. And there are trees that sort of twist up in their front lawn that have no leaves on it, and black bark. And it goes back into this manor that looks like an old haunted mansion, except no windows are broken or anything like that, but it is completely black with blue tiling on the roofs instead of the bright, brilliant colors from the other buildings. It is definitely, like, bleak in comparison to everything else, but a still magnificently beautiful home. Many windows, 4 floors, very spread out evenly so nothing looks too large. There is a tower on one side that goes a little bit higher than the rest of the building, and it's a little wider, but it kind of just melds beautifully with the horizontal spread of the home. It's gorgeous. And there is a mini incline leading up to the estate's front gate. The estate also, on like 6 separate pieces of the front of the house itself, have gargoyles sort of poised.
That's fucking sick.
Chrono Harris walks up and knocks on the door.
Is there a place for us to leave the
cart?
cart?
Just pull it off next to the incline to get it out of the road.
I mean, do we get the impression that it's going to be safe there? I'll leave Bartleby there and I say, watch the cart, okay? and try and sound very stern when I do it, but then like after a second I'm like, oh, I can't do that to you, and I go and give him some scritches on the face.
Puppy just pants happily. Yeah, Colonel Harris, you approach the front gates of the estate and sort of like kind of tap on them a little bit. And you hear this weird sound of like stone scraping. Make me a perception check real quick, Colonel Harris.
Okay.
Yeah, he said that he was gonna get out of the cart and go.
That
Do you want to say you went with him because your Discord acted
It's
funny? Yeah.
big
Alright,
7.
Charybdis, do you want to try the perception check?
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah,
So
so
it's a
very suddenly you see this giant moving gargoyle just suddenly land on top of the gate. Sort of like a cat rearing up, looking over the iron bars down at you with white glowing eyes. You did not know that the gargoyles could move.
Charybdis just looks up at it and it just seems completely unfazed. And then just raises an eyebrow.
You don't see its, and everyone else sees this when it crashes down, just this big old fucking... It looks like a demon with, like, big old bat ears, and it has 4 tails and big wings and long claws, and it has white glowing eyes. And it just sort of is, like, trying to balance on top of the gate, looking over. And its tails are, like, swishing. And you hear a voice where you can't really tell where it comes from that goes, "State your business."
I'm Charybdis Mobius. Crowleys are expecting me.
You see it kind of like squint its eyes, and then you hear a voice. This voice is familiar to both Charybdis and Colonel Harris, where it goes, Now, Excalibur, go back to your station. No one requested you." And a lot of you see a young man sort of appear out of the front doors of the Crowley estate. Once again, the gargoyle that was sort of poised on the gate, like, looks back at the young man, and then sort of, like, jumps up and flies back to a station sort of near the door on top of the building, and then you see it, like, rest. The glow disappears from its eyes, and it turns completely still. And you see a young man with dark blue, almost purple skin, with lighter blue dark hair that sort of fades down into white. He's wearing a nice dark gray collared shirt with rolled up sleeves that has a black, very nice fitted vest on it. Obviously the underworkings of a suit that doesn't have its jacket on currently. And he has like this little gem tie around his throat under the collar, and he's wearing a silver pair of glasses that have little circles in the corner to kind of be like another set of spectacles for like probably near being able to see closer. And off the side of his glasses, there's like a little dangly bit that's like some beads and a metal rod that go into a skull. And both of his ears have 2 piercings that are connected by a chain. And he stands at like 6'3". He's ridiculously handsome. And it is obvious that he is a drow. And he sort of like is adjusting his coat's arms. And he walks down the steps of the estate and through the yard to the front gate and goes, well, if it isn't the Mobius twins. I'm glad I got your message, though I only received it this morning. Please, come in. And he...
Do we recognize this individual, by the way?
This is Andrew.
Nice. Yeah, Charybdis just curtsies and says, "Pleasure to see you again, Andrew."
Please, Charybdis, the pleasure is all mine. And he, like, waves his fingers and the gates open and goes, "I apologize about Excalibur. He gets a little unfriendly. We're trying to fix it, but I'm not the one who conjured him, so he's kind of a prick." Please, I've already made arrangements for tea.
And yeah, Charybdis will nod and then begin walking up the path.
Whoever's last in the gate, he goes, "Oh, please lead your animals inside the walls of the gates. I really do not want anything bad to happen to them. They're guests just as well as you are." And if you so wish, I could have a servant do it for you. That is totally up to your discretion. I just do not want to touch your animals without your permission.
No, I'll take care of it. Reverie didn't really seem to be paying attention until he mentioned making the servants do it, and then she's like, "Oh, nope, I can do whatever it is." And then through context clues, figures out he's looking at the horses, like, "Oh, great," and we'll go and bring them inside.
Yeah, and as he's walking close to the gate, you see these, like, stone, what look to be like pixies, sort of just fly out of nowhere and open the double doors and hold them open for the lot of you. And again, they look like they're completely made out of stone, so their, like, faces are expressionless, their eyes are glowing white, and they're just fluttering really fast, holding open the doors. And he goes, "Thank you, Guinevere. Thank you, Lilith. Much appreciated." And he, like, steps through the doors and stands off to the side and sort of just waits for everyone to walk in.
As people walk in, Charybdis will sort of give introductions. And says, "By the way, Andrew, these are traveling companions that my brother and I have picked up, it seems. This is Winfrey. She's been a very helpful combatant in getting us here safely. Winfrey, this is Andrew Crowley."
Hello there.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Sure.
I get an insight check on Charybdis when she says "dear friend."
Sure.
There's a little ellipsis before the deer part. That is an unnatural 20.
Charybdis gives signs of feeling an odd warmth, but also a sort of the emotional equivalent of a still healing wound. You get the sense that there might have been something deeper there.
There's the history. Damn, I want the deets. Reverie doesn't care, but I do. Alright. Reverie will, getting this sort of sense, Reverie will also, like, move up and just, like, walk up to him and try and stand kind of tall as she can. She's about as tall as Charybdis, though. So I don't know if I'm as tall
You're
as
like
this
2
guy.
inches shorter than him.
And just, like, walk... Damn, okay, that's fine. I'm buffer. I walk up and I just, like, hold out my hand immediately, like, "Hi, I'm Lady Reverie. I'm Charybdis' new bodyguard. Tell me more about yourself."
Oh yes, pleasure to meet you. As Charybdis once stated, I am Andrew Crowley. I am the youngest and next heir to the Crowley family. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. He smiles at Colonel Harris and goes, "Colonel Harris, it's been a while since I've seen you. How have you been?"
Colonel Harris shamelessly pretends he did not hear. They have a library here, don't they?
And he goes, Colonel Harris, you're as pleasant as always.
He is. Thank you for noticing.
Yes, of course. I did not mean that as sarcasm. His disdain towards me is not my fault or my problem. Please, come this way. And he starts walking down the direction towards a, like, sort of dining area.
And then, but before they really take off, Charybdis will gesture to Maria as well and say, "And this is Maria. She has been an absolute delight to have along. A very, very talented and prolific musician."
Oh, I apologize. Did I miss somebody? Actually, give me one second. Oh, yes! He, like, claps his hand together and goes, "Maria Day, I've actually been to quite a few of your performances. Seriously, wonderful performances they were."
What?
Gross.
You'll get over it. And then he turns and keeps walking.
Yo, does anybody else fucking hate this guy?
I do.
I fucking hate this guy. Reverie thinks he's fine. I'm just like, the moment he showed up, I was like, no. I'm like, I'm gonna
No,
fucking
Maria,
kick this guy in the dick.
Maria absolutely hates this guy, and she's not hiding it.
Love it.
Yeah.
You're a
They
right
have a
prick,
library
ain't ya?
here.
Oh shit. We're gonna get killed.
I mean, your opinion of me doesn't matter. You wanted my help.
No, that's not my opinion, that's my observation.
Maybe a bit arrogant, sure. I'm willing to admit to that. Maybe a bit pompous. Oh no, I was raised as a rich boy, obsessed with the dead. It
Andrew,
happens. Yes, Charybdis?
Please forgive the poor manners of my traveling companions.
No,
They are not
please.
as etiquettely inclined.
No, please. Do not make people pretend that they are what they are not. I understand. I do not force the polite habits onto other people. That would be unjust of me. I understand that my presence is overbearing and that some people find me rather arrogant and rude, and that is totally fine. They are allowed to formulate their own opinions. They do not have to be on par with other people's expectations. Please, this way.
Holy shit, you're awful. Just the absolute worst, really.
Oh no.
Again, Winfrey, I believe you will find it in your heart to either not to or to forgive me. Again, that is your choice. You are a human being of free will.
Andrew, we need help getting into the catacombs.
Yes, I do believe that was something you needed to have a discussion with me with. But please, I would like to discuss this not in the foyer of my home.
Great. Please lead the way to not the foyer.
Right this way. And he leads you into this sort of, like, dining room again with, like, a very large, pretty, like, black and white floral carpet with a long table and very nice, comfortable chairs that are very plush. They're sort of black and deep purple. There is a very large, kind of gray oak table that already has tea, like a big platter of tea and or coffee prepping things set in the middle. And he sort of sits at the head of the table, and he doesn't sit very, like, elegantly. He just sort of, like, leans back comfortably in his chair with his hands folded over his, like, torso.
Are you okay? Didn't hit your head on your vaulted ceilings?
Oh my god.
Again, I take no offense. My head is just fine.
What I would like to do, DM...
Not only is it big, it's full of air too. Sheesh.
Oh my god.
This is going terribly.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Andrew just has this
Anyway.
very slight smile on his face, and his amber eyes are just kind of aglow. He is entertained. Thoroughly.
God. He's gonna fucking eat your skin. Alright, so DM, what I wanted to do, I'm gonna try and do it before someone else calls this guy a limp dick. I wanted to, as we're walking through the foyer, through the house, and he's leading us to this place, and there's, you know, a combination of etiquette and barbs, and then him claiming that he doesn't care about either. Reverie would like to sort of size him up, just sort of like from what she knows about casters, what she knows about Charybdis and Chronoheris, essentially to see, is this, like, bravado of, like, I don't give a shit about the world, is that something that he has earned, or is that a face that he puts on?
Make me a insight check.
Okay. Maybe I should wait to formulate this opinion till later, but I'm doing it now.
First impression's a lasting one, buddy.
I guess so. That is a 23.
So you get the inference that Andrew is genuinely trying to be nice. It's just the fact that he doesn't get to talk to people that often. Because he doesn't carry himself like someone that is trying to seem better than anybody. He literally is just talking the way he was taught how to. So you can tell that he's very nonchalant in a way that comes off rude. But in terms of, like, scaling up to power, if he were a player, he would maybe be 2 levels above you. Maybe 3.
So, gotcha. Here was my impression, and you answered a little bit, and I guess you can tell me if this impression is true or not. He does not actively try to seem like I'm better than you, but he instinctually believes it because that's just how he is.
It's not
Is that
necessarily
correct?
that he believes he's better in any way, it's that he's literally being ignorant to the fact that that's how he comes off. You can tell it comes from a place
Okay.
of
So
the
he's
only people he socializes with are other people of his social class. That it's literally how he talks.
Gotcha. So the alternative to that... Totally, I get you now. So the alternative to that is that he's very comfortable with the
Yeah.
space he takes up, and isn't gonna make any apologies for coming off as a noble prick.
For him, it's that he understands it's how he comes off, and that there's nothing he can really do to change it, because he does not have the perspective other people do, so he's not going to pretend that he's someone he's not to make other people comfortable, because he physically doesn't know how to. He cannot relate.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna use this man's blood to instill timid people with confidence.
I Minnow love this character as much as I Minnow hate this guy. It's great. But Reverie thinks that he's fine. So yeah, thank you for that. In that case, when we sit down, I think Reverie, like, doesn't know decorum or doesn't care, and just goes and, like, sits right next to him. She'll even, like, pull the chair to the side, because you said he's, like, sitting at the head of the table. Yeah, she'll, like, pull the chair to the side so they're both sitting at the head now. Or, like, she's kind of, like, sideways. And is like... No, she's just gonna be like, so, what's it like being the other... You said the first thing about you was that you were the, one of the head members of the Crowley family. Is that what's most important to you? What else do you do? What makes you? I guess that's what I really want to know.
I honestly wish my parents would leave me alone to do my work. They don't really believe in it, though.
What kind of work is that? Completely forgetting that we're here for a mission.
I actually wish I could work with my uncle.
Oh?
Indeed. Unfortunately, my parents just would not allow that.
She goes to ask more questions and then goes to ask more questions than Winfrey.
Before an incident has started, Andrew, the catacombs.
Yes, so I didn't fully understand your message. Is there a need for you to go into the catacombs? What exactly are you looking for? I'm sure you kept your messages cryptic on purpose, in case of interference.
Charybdis has this moment of internal conflict, very briefly, before she says, "We're looking for something that doesn't exist, something lost to the world. And I believe, if the stories are to be believed, that we can find it in the forgotten places."
Charybdis, as much as I would like to help you, I believe the access to the catacombs are not in my authority.
Then tell me who to talk to.
You will need to speak with my uncle.
I've heard good things about him.
If you can have a stable conversation with him. I love the man, trust me, but sometimes getting past his exterior is very difficult. I guess there would also need to be a discussion with my mother as well, but I'm sure she'll just pass it off to my uncle, so I'll just tell you my uncle straight away.
It's at this point Charybdis pulls out the piece of paper with the drawing of the mark that appeared on her, and slides it in front of Andrew.
What is this?
It lines up with some of the stories, it seems. It appeared on my skin.
Are you alright? You see him take on this totally worried expression, just, are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine now. It's nothing I'm not used to.
Fair enough.
Ellie is looking through her notes, trying to figure out why the fuck can't find the exact thing that we were looking for for some reason.
I believe Chrono Harris would have that in his notes, primarily.
Do you mean Chrono Harris or Groove? Alright. Yeah, yes. So, is there a Crowley library? I believe there would be.
Yes, we do have a library. It is upstairs.
Yeah, Chrono Harris is gonna stand up and go to the library, and he is going to find the... so apparently, between all of these stories, connecting them, there is an artifact, and
So you're just gonna go pluck a random storybook out
mirror.
of the library that you know has the same stories?
Yeah, like I assume most libraries of nobles have like that big book of the classic parables and whatnot. And he's going to go grab it and bring it back down and open it up. Turn to...
Oh, my bad. I was gonna say, you actually get help from one of the, like, little stone pixies that helped, and, like, they just, like, grab the... If the shelf's too high, they, like, grab it and then hand it to you very nicely.
Yes, and we'll return. Dr. Agartha will stay and make pleasant conversation. Yeah. Goes back, opens up the book, plops it down, goes to the exact page with a single flip, slaps his finger down. We're looking for this. And he's pointing at the mirror.
Andrew, like, looks at Charybdis' drawing and then looks at the mirror in the book and goes, "You're looking for an item in a storybook?"
Yes. Can you help us or not? Can your uncle help us or not?
How often do you know of storybook items randomly appearing on people?
No, that is fair enough.
Not to mention we found somebody who claims to be from Rarendal.
Aye.
Yes, that's Rarendal.
I believe it's not fair of me to pass judgment, so I will not tell you how crazy that seems, but I believe you and your brother to be very intelligent, very upcoming people, so I will trust you.
Not to mention... Well, you know the other mysterious circumstance that has caused me to be searching for some time.
Yes, I understand, and again, I'm so sorry about your sister.
Andrew, can you help us or not? Can your uncle help us or not?
I'd like you to take your impolite words towards me down to a minimum, please, if you do want my help.
I'd like for you to stop bullshitting and
I'd like
get
for you
to
to
the
understand
point.
you are in someone's house. Were you raised in a barn?
Oh, and I'd like you to stop being a fucking hypocrite.
Reverie stands up. Everyone, here's the thing. I think that we all have a lot of emotional baggage going on here. There's a lot of things going on in the background. For right now, why don't we focus on why we came here, which is making sure that we can help our friend that we have met, the one that is from Rarendal, making sure that we can also move forward, and also, I'm sure that our friend here wishes nothing more than to be helpful for us. So, for the time being, why don't we use small sentences, the fewest amount of adjectives we can possibly use, while we just try and parse things out. Now, Andrew, again, thank you for allowing us into your lovely home. I understand that things maybe aren't going exactly as you had planned, but you're rolling with them very well, and we appreciate that sincerely. That being said, we are on a bit of a time crunch, because in addition to needing this information about the mirror, there's also dragon attacks and other problems that we're dealing with, and it's been kind of a busy week for us, and we're all very haggard. So, again, what my good friend and employer, Chronoheros Mobius, was saying, is it possible that you or your uncle can assist us?
Yes, my uncle can definitely help you get into the catacombs if he so deems it necessary. If you show him the same things you've shown me, my uncle is honestly a little batshit crazy, so he'll probably be thrilled that you're asking him, though you might have to listen to some rant about some of his work. That'll be your payment, I guess.
Great, so all we have to do is show him the same thing, correct? And we can go right up to him? She like looks over to Charybdis as much as she's looking to Andrew like, I don't know how this shit works.
What Reverie is trying to convey is, what is the earliest we can arrange an audience with your uncle?
Right, that.
Well,
exactly.
My uncle... and you see him, like, flourish his fingers, and, like, it looks like these, like, constellations mixed with, like, raven feathers, like, in a cloud of smoke just pop up, and then you see, like, what looks to be a paper appear in front of him, except it's blue and kind of see-through, and he looks and goes... Is that an opening, or is my uncle just forgetful? Yes. At about, he, like, looks at, like, a watch that he literally doesn't have until it shows up, like, magically, and he goes, my uncle will have an opening in about 4 hours.
Where?
His workplace is in the basement.
Well, excellent. 4 hours seems a very fair amount of time given the circumstances.
Just remember, my uncle is a very peculiar man.
Well, you've met my family. We're not exactly, conventional ourselves.
You hear a voice come from the opposite end of the room and goes, Andrew, darling, I heard shouting earlier. And, you see this woman who is... she's not very tall. She's like 5'5", and she has like a kind of like round face, kind of like heart-shaped with a little button nose and kind of pinched lips. She's very pretty. She kind of has scarring around her eyes, and her eyes look like they're faded over, like she has cataracts really bad. But then instead of ears, she has 2 pairs of wings on either side of her face that are kind of small. And she has a little like pixie cut that is, you can tell that it's like gray dyed pink and the dye's fading out. And she sort of like peeks in, and she's wearing a very, very pretty gown that isn't like very wide. It's kind of a little sticks to her form a little bit. Has a lot of like veils and ribbons and stuff like that. And she kind of like peeks around the corner, like kind of tapping her nails on the wall. And she goes, "Oh, I forgot you were having company today. I apologize."
Does Charybdis recognize this individual?
This is Andrew's mother.
I wave.
Her name is
It's like Fairly Odd Parents.
Her
Her
name
name
is
is just
Morgana.
Mom.
A pleasure to see you again, Morgana.
Oh, yes. Hello, Charybdis. Oh, and Krona Harris, too.
Crowley Harris does not let the earlier exchange go, and he has like a sneer on his face, but he says, in a very flat, polite tone, "Hello, Morgana, how are you?"
Pleasant.
That's good to hear, he says as he is staring down Andrew.
Yeah, and then another, like, man, like, steps into the room, and he looks like Andrew a little bit, but he has slicked back hair, and he sort of, like, steps into the room like he's starting a little dance, and he also has the blue, almost black hair, and he is... I apologize. And he's wearing, like, a very small pair of, like, spectacles that, like, barely go over his eyes, and he has the same thing coming off of his ear that Andrew has coming off of his glasses, and his hair is slicked back, but then the sides are completely shaved. He looks like a fucking goth dad. And he walks in and he, like, fucking twirls Morgana, like, in a little dance, and just goes, "Andrew, me and your mother are leaving for the day. Your uncle is being left in charge, though he is working right now." And he, like, sort of, like, does a little, like, hand wiggle and bows to everyone in the room and goes, "Hello, everyone. Hope the tea is good. We bought it just for you today."
Visible gagging.
He is Erwin.
Erwin, lovely to see you as always.
Yes, of course. We're off to go settle another wine deal for shipment to Viron. We'll be back shortly. Please, Andrew, allow your friends to take home a couple bottle of wines. Don't let them leave without one. You have to be polite. And then, like, he, like, starts kind of doing a little jig out the door, like, still twirling Morgana, and Morgana's, like, giggling. And Andrew just looks so annoyed. And he's like, "I'm so sorry about them. They do this every time I have company."
Well, like I've told you before, at least they're delightful.
They are very friendly, yes. I adore them, but they're weird.
Reverie will look forward and say, "So your uncle will be here in 4 hours, correct? And that's when we can come back and meet with him?"
Yes. Just, I would like to forewarn everybody, when you go down into my uncle's office, you are going to see multiple dead bodies. He is very open about his work. He might be working while you're doing it. Regardless, that time is when you'll be able to speak to him, as he won't have his doors locked.
Sounds more than fair.
Excellent. Well, what I think we should do... I'm sorry, were you saying something else?
Charybdis
You go ahead.
just looks to Andrew and nods and says, "Thank you for your help. Especially on such short notice."
I do have one more thing.
And what is that?
If my uncle is hesitant about letting you into the catacombs, just come back to me.
I always do.
He smiles and goes, "Nobody deserves to be without a home. Help your friend get back." And he stands up from the chair, sort of bows at Reverie since she was a little bit close to him, and he pushes it in and goes, "Please enjoy the tea and the snacks and the library if you so choose. I have to get back to my studies while my parents are out, so that way I'm allowed to actually do them."
Would you mind if I accompanied you? I'm not smart, but I am very interested and curious. And I've been told in the past it helps to explain things to people.
Sure, if you so wish. Also, he, looks to everybody. "Don't mind the ghost." And then he continues off.
Charybdis kind of looks after Andrew as if she wants to say something, but
No, you didn't just say that out loud.
not to.
Yeah, and then you just hear his footsteps kind of echoing going up the stairs.
Reverie's following. He's gonna look back, just as she's leaving, she's gonna look back over her shoulder. She's going to meet, Charybdis's eyes, and just, give, the biggest, warmest smile. And there's a lot conveyed in that, just of, I don't know, maybe I'll make a check here to try and convey this, but, I recently had a person, that, I realized they were completely and totally 100% in my corner just with, a look they gave me once. And I feel like that's a very similar look you get now as well from Reverie.
Well, I got a
As she then looks back and
10 on
continues.
insight. So I think Charybdis gets some of that for sure,
Yeah.
but
He looks that way at
yeah,
everybody.
but Charybdis also seems very much distracted with Andrew's presence.
Mhm.
And then, as Reverie and Andrew walk away, Charybdis just slowly turns to everyone else with this exasperated and slightly sad expression and says, "I am trying to save my home. I'm trying to get this job done. And frankly, I would appreciate it if we could keep things together long enough for you to not fuck it up. You have no obligation towards me or my affairs, but if you're not going to be helpful, then wait outside."
One of the pixies brings a macaron to Charybdis.
And Charybdis, without just very unceremoniously, just stress eats in front of everybody.
Is there a bar in this room?
There's
about to be.
There's a cabinet on the far side of the room that has nice glasses and then alcohol in the bottom cabinet. And again, you were all told to be given wine, and there is wine set up. You were all told you were allowed one bottle, so there's that too.
Oh, I completely misheard.
Oh, please tell me there is a sweet red blend somewhere in there.
They're all kinds. The thing about the Crowley family is not only are they people that deal with undead and they're the town's super coroners and they control all of the fucking catacombs and graveyards, they're also one of the best wine brands in the entirety of the continent. You're basically getting an over 100 gold bottle of wine for free. That's how good it is.
And it's going straight to my liver. Let's go.
Yeah, I think as soon as Andrew started walking out of the room, she would have gotten up and taken one bottle and shoved it in her bag, and then taken another one and poured her glass.
Yeah. And
if we're allowed a bottle of wine each, fuck it. Who needs glasses? Come on now.
Reverie and Andrew. Reverie, when you are led up to the study that Andrew is going to, you notice that the decoration of the house changes drastically when you go into this study. It goes from being completely all black to having a little bit more color. The rugs on the floor are actually a very royal blue. There's things hanging on the walls. There's actually little, like, moon and star and other things, like, hanging from the ceiling. They don't come down to a point where you would have to, like, duck or move out of the way, but they hang a little bit. And there's, like, a slight labyrinth of bookshelves that all have very neatly organized books until you get into this sort of circular opening in the room where there's no bookshelves or anything that has a fireplace that has blue flames in it, and it's already lit, with a circular rug that shows basically the entire moon, weather, and day cycle of the planet. You know what I'm talking about? Where those old, like, graphs of all that, that for this planet. And it glows and is actively moving.
On the rug, the moons and stars are moving. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it actually, there's like an active clock at its very center that is ticking on the correct time. And it shows that you're on the season of summer in Hydrus. It's actually really cool looking. And when... Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead.
When Andrew actually steps on it, actually dims a little bit. And then he goes to this sort of L-shaped desk that is white with like this sort of stone slate top on it. And it's covered in books. There is a human skeleton, or humanoid skeleton I should say, kind of on a stand next to his desk, as well as a smaller one that looks like it has like muscles and organs and stuff in it, but it's actually on the desk because it's only like 2 feet tall. And Andrew like walks up to his desk and he looks around and goes, I actually don't... Let me go find a chair. And you, like, watch him go into this back corner of the room, and you hear a bunch of noises. You hear ruffling noises. It sounds like a few books fall. It sounds like paper splatter everywhere. You don't see any of this. You just hear the commotion, and then you hear the sliding of wood as Andrew is pushing this, like, comfortable... It's obviously not a desk chair. It's like a comfortable reading nook chair.
Sure. Seeing that, first of all, is he, like, struggling with this? Is this like watching Chronoheris move a chair?
A little bit. He's pushing it with his back against it rather than with his hands.
Okay. I go over to it and I say, oh, thank you for that. And I lock my prosthetic arm, or my prosthetic hand, in, like, a good shape to, like, pick it up. And I just pick it up and just carry it, like, without having to push it.
Oh, thank you.
No, thank you. I didn't know that, finding a chair would be that difficult, or I would have just stood, but I appreciate it all the same.
I am normally the only one in here.
Well, that's a shame, because this place is amazing.
Thank you.
That rug is incredible. Did you do that?
I made it myself, yes.
That is amazing. How long did it take?
Well, my mother actually is the one who made the rug herself, but I am the one who enchanted it.
Oh. Is that something you do a lot of?
It is. I don't do it too much because it distracts from my work, but whenever I have the free time, and he, like, pulls out the desk chair, and he, like, sits down, and he looks at you because he doesn't quite know why you went with him, so he's just kind of like, you said you had, questions for me.
No, you said that you were going to go do work, and I wanted to see what it was. I wanted to see if I could help at all.
Oh!
You talk very fondly about your work, and I guess I was just really curious.
Oh, okay, fair enough. And, he, like, sort of, like, adjusts his desk chair so that way he's facing, like, the desk, like, you can see to the desk without him having to completely remove himself from it. And he goes, well, you see, I am trying to perfect a way to use magic to figure out the ways that a person dies. My uncle, Nivius, he's a coroner of sorts, except he uses magic and whatnot. And I am trying to discover new ways to help his job and perfect it a little bit. Like, come, look at this. And you see him open his desk drawer, and a bunch of, like, steam comes out of it. It's actually like frosted mist. And you see him take out this plate that has a heart on it, like a straight up heart. And he goes, now, I only have one piece of a person who, ethically, by the way, I have gained their heart. But I am halfway done perfecting a magical technique to tell by just having this one piece of their body what killed them.
That is fascinating.
Yes, the thing about my uncle is he needs a lot more tools and a lot more magic than what I'm trying to achieve. My uncle needs much more of the body, he needs a lot more information, he basically needs to make an entire investigation like a regular detective, and magic just helps. I want to make it to where both our jobs, if I'm ever allowed, can make it to where even getting people in pieces or less than pieces, we can figure out what happened to them and bring them to a just end so that they can rest.
That's amazing. This sounds, I mean, just from listening to you talk about it, I'll admit, I am, without a doubt, the brains of the group. Let's just, so we're both clear. But I still barely understood what you said, but just listening to you talk about it, I can feel how important it is, being able to discuss this and figure out more about a person's death. Normally, when I get there, it's, it's before it happens. So I can't say that I've ever given much thought to what happens after, but it seems like it's really important to you.
Are you a war medic of sorts?
Sure.
He, looks at you very puzzled because he doesn't, if you knew what you did, then you would be able to confirm that. But he kind of just shakes his head and goes, watch this. This is the final test that I need to do. And you see him sort of flourish his hands and then press very shaky fingers. He looks very focused, and it looks like this is taking way more energy than it should. Reverie, actually, roll me a perception check.
Sure. I have dice that are out. I'm a professional D&D player. Hey, that's a natural 20 for a 23.
Yes.
21, I'm a liar.
So, Reverie, when you look at this, you normally would need to, normally this would just look like he's doing magic, but you, watch. And you watch him, and you can literally see the signs of his body showing stress. And you see, the hairs on the back of his neck raise. You see a single drop of sweat already, and he's maybe been doing it for, 5 seconds. And you see the palms of his hands light up blue. And you see him touch his fingers very gently to the heart. And then you see his eyes glow really brightly. And then you see the visage of what looks like a sword plunging through, I almost forgot his name, Andrew's stomach for a second. It looks real as well. You are very suddenly it almost looks like someone just walked into the room and stabbed Andrew. Out of nowhere. And you see him go, and you even see a splatter of blood and Andrew fall back out of his chair. But the moment his hands leave contact with the heart, the visage ends, the blood is gone, and there is no wound, but Andrew is on the floor.
Okay. I will go over to him, and I will kneel down and help him back up to his feet, or at least help him back up to his chair.
Oh.
Was that supposed to happen? And I'm actually gonna take him to the comfier chair that he brought me.
He is holding his he's holding his torso like he actually just got stabbed, and then he removes his hand and goes, oh. Whew. And he is now profusely sweating.
Yeah, getting stabbed in the chest, it does that.
That's really good progress. And he stumbles out of the chair and grabs a notebook and starts writing things down and goes, so the side effect of this spell is unfortunately, however the person died, I have to go through it technically myself. This could cause possible anxiety, possible trauma. This could give somebody a heart attack if they're ill of heart. That is not good.
It also seemed like if you hadn't pulled your hand off that heart, we probably would have had more of a problem. Can I look back to where the blood splatter was? Is that still there?
You, like, look back at his desk because you saw him literally cough out blood and there's no blood.
Okay. Can I just, like, as he's, like, writing, I'm going to try and, like, get up close to him and just, like, feel his chest for, like, wounds or anything out of place. I'm also going to check his pulse, just do, like, a little quick medical thing.
Yeah, make me a medicine check.
Much worse. 8.
Yeah, I mean, like, you notice that there's no blood on the desk, there's no blood on him. He should be okay.
Yeah.
And, like, you'd go to feel for a pulse, but you feel in the wrong spot, so you're just like, oh yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. And there's a moment of, like, oh shit. I'm viewing his last moments again. And I'm like, oh, no, wait. That's the wrong part of the neck. And he probably, like, I, like, move my hands away, convinced that he is fine. And I'm just gonna watch him for a second while he works, and wait for him to talk to me again.
Yeah, he's silent for a good, like, 5 minutes, as he's just sitting there writing notes feverishly. At some point, he lifts up another pen, and, like, he lifts it up, and it looks like he's about to throw it, and then it just lets go, and then starts writing on the same piece of paper ahead of him. And again, after that 5 minutes of just almost pure silence, he stops, sets both quills down, and goes, I apologize. That was very important.
No need to apologize. That was amazing. I've never seen someone get up so quickly after being stabbed in the chest. I'm guessing that wasn't the purpose, but it was still impressive.
Yes, that is a very bad side effect I will have to work on. Because especially for those who are maybe a little older, if they tried to do that, that might put them into cardiac arrest, and what's the point of investigating a dead body if you yourself also become a cadaver?
You did also smack your head on the ground.
He, like, feels the back of his head and then, like, looks at his, like, hand and he goes, you're right.
I'll reach out a hand and say, if I may.
He, like, leans forward a little bit.
Okay. I'll just, like, reach out and I'll touch his shoulder and we'll give him 2 hit points.
Yeah, you see, like, there was, like, a kind of dark spot. His hair's already really dark, but there's, like, one spot on the back of his head where it's darker, and you see it kind of clear up. Probably bust his head and didn't notice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is fantastic.
I'll just, like, smile for a second, and then I'll say, well, I can't help but notice that there's a slight difference with you talking about this versus you talking about wine.
No. If I have to hear rants about the properties that we have vineyards on, I might just allow the heart to stab me again.
What is it about taking over the family business that bothers you so much?
Because it wasn't meant to be me who did it. My father and my uncle, and he, like, sits down. My father and my uncle are from a set of triplets. They had a sister. And the thing about that is she is, well, my aunt is gone. I can't even bring myself to say her name, or I get choked up. But my aunt is dead. And the family, they were going to pass on their business to her. As all the triplets went their separate ways. My dad started the wine business. My uncle Nivius, he is the greatest coroner of all time, and, well, their sister always felt a little left behind, so my father was going to allow her to take over and allow some time to spend with his family, and that just didn't happen. After she died, he became a completely different man. Had more expectations of me. Wanted me to do greater things. But I was already dead set on working with my uncle, and now I don't think I ever will be able to. So...
Why do you think that?
Because I don't want to let my parents down.
And you think that, again, you know them much more than I do. I just I like to understand things. You think that, and I point back to the heart, would be letting them down?
Or maybe you don't. Noble families, that's the thing. If you don't do what they want you to do, you're a disappointment, a failure. If you don't do exactly what you are predestined to do, you are a failure. I could save the entire world from devastation. I could knock meteors out of the sky. But if it isn't what they wanted, I am a failure.
And how does what you want factor into that?
I don't want to be a businessman. I want to be helpful.
What does helpful look like to you?
Seeing people get what they deserve, whether it be punishment or an easy rest. License
Reverie.
is a scary place, Lady Reverie. Also continue, I apologize.
No, you're good. What I was literally going to say is that Reverie waits in silence for him to continue, so you beat me to it. I think that she nods and she waits for a couple more moments, and then if he doesn't say anything else, she'll say, "So it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, and you can tell me if I'm incorrect here, you're torn between the needs of your family, or the perceived wants of them, and the needs of everyone else."
I suppose. I'm not trying to be a hero, I'm just trying to make heroes have an easier time.
Can I ask a question? And you are, of course, free to say, to not respond, or to tell me I've gone too far. Sorry, reset. Can I ask you a question? And of course you are, to say no to this or to not respond, but how long ago did your aunt pass away?
10 years ago.
10 years. And you were how old?
I was 11.
That seems like an awful lot to put on an 11-year-old that's going through grief.
It was. I adore my parents, truly, but my father was not the same man after his sister died. And, I don't know the details, and he kind of, clears his throat. He watched it happen. And I have been too afraid to ask him.
That sounds really difficult for everyone.
It was. My father honestly just wants to be able to spend time with Mother. I apologize. Most people know this. My mother, in comparison to us, will live a very short-lived life. In terms of elves, I will not even be considered a full-fledged adult by the time my mother is no longer with us. And my father, due to his sister's death, takes that very personally.
Suppose that I could see how that would make sense. He saw something that was taken from him, something that should have been there for most of his life, if not all of it. And afterwards, he started looking to the future. And perhaps panicking about it.
Indeed.
What would you like your father to say to you? Because I guess, from what I'm hearing, again, you know him better than I do. And you understand your own situation better than I ever could, even if I tried for the many, many years that I have as well. I know a few things about, we'll say, watching people slip away and going on without them. But it sounds like, and there is the panic there that we talked about, but it sounds like your father took the thing that mattered incredibly to him. And is it possible that him passing on the business was his way of honoring his sister?
No doubt. I understand his sentiment completely, but in listening to his own heart, he ignored mine. But that's the thing with us nobles. We don't really get a choice.
None?
Not necessarily.
How about this? Lady Reverie stands up. Says, let's try something, because, again, I'm new to all this, but there are, believe it or not, these are relationships that I understand somewhat well. Let's say this. Pretend that I'm your father, and I will reach up and I will remove my prosthetic arm, and I'll take it and I'll hold it in my left hand, and I'll start like twirling around the room like I'm dancing with his mother. And I'll say, pretend that I'm him. And then you come up and you say, what would you say? Father, I don't want to be in charge of the business. Is that what you would say?
If I had the heart to.
Alright, well, have the heart. Say it. Go on. I do a big dip.
Andrew is looking at you so confused right now. Like, his shoulders are kind of slumped and his eyes are squinted, and he like looks around the room as if someone is going to look at him while he's saying this. Like, it's embarrassing a little bit. And he goes, oh, goodness gracious, okay. And he stands up out of the chair, and he stands up straight and goes, and he looks around again, and he goes, Father, I don't want to run the wine business of our family.
Lady Reverie stops, and she looks at him and say, and how do you feel right now?
Mortified.
Lady Reverie nods and waits for him to continue. Anything else?
He, like, sort of looks away and goes, pardon me, I do not wish to talk about this much more.
That's fair. Can I just ask one last question, and then I want to hear all the more about this heart and the weird magic you've been doing that I won't understand, but I'm a great listener. But I do have just one more.
Go for it.
If the worst came to pass, and your father reacted the way that you fear he would, and then the next day you woke up and were able to work with your uncle, do the things that you've wanted to do, make the changes you've always wanted to make, what do you think that would feel like?
I think the world would feel a lot less dreary and a lot less lonely.
Reverie nods, attaches her arm again, says, that's all I wanted to know. It's honestly kind of funny, in a weird way. Someone once told me that the thing we hate the most is not what's exactly opposite us, but it's what is almost us, but not quite. And you just sound so much like Chronoheris there that I can't help but like you.
Lonely is the way you feel when you can't be your authentic self, Reverie. I don't blame Chronoheris for disliking me. I don't blame any of them for disliking me. I'm in a position where that is just the way the world works.
Am I seeing your authentic self now?
I don't know. I feel like I haven't met him yet.
Well, when you do, I feel like I'd probably like him, so you should let me know.
He, like,
We'll get
chuckles a
snacks.
bit and goes, oh, I forgot! And he, like, you see him, like, run back into that corner of the room that sort of dips comically behind a shelf, and then you hear, like, more noises, and then you hear a cat, like, meow, and then you just hear, oh, sorry, and then you see him, like, come out with, like, a box, and he goes, this is very important, I will be right back. And
Great. I will not get lost in this library.
You most definitely will. I'll be right back. And,
Great.
you see him, like, you hear, like, the door open and close, and then everyone that's still in the dining room, you actually hear the footfalls of him coming down the stairs and going, shit, 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 shit. And, he peeks into the dining room and goes, is Charybdis still here?
Hello, Andrew.
And he's holding a rather large box, and he goes, this was very... You see the lid of the box move a little bit, and he, like, moves it back, and he goes, stop that. This was a long time coming, and it is no longer as quaint as I wanted it to be. And then the lid pops off again, and you see the head of a cat peek out the top of the box. It looks like a ragdoll cat with a completely, like, almost gray face, but, like, it goes gray, and then near the middle of the face it goes back to white again. And then you see little wings pop out of the box as well. And this, like, very fluffy, sort of large cat just sort of, like, climbs out of the box and flips itself onto the table, and then skids a little bit, and then goes...
Charybdis, like, just cocks an eyebrow and just looks at the cat and says, adorable, but I'm not sure I understand.
Well, it has been quite a while since I've seen you, and, well, this was a gift. At the time, he was a kitten, and, like, the cat, like, stands up and then, like, unfurls its wings a little bit to fix its feathers and then readjust them, and he goes, but I never got to give it to you. So now he's no longer a kitten. He is a full-grown cat.
At this point, Tak, like, climbs onto the table and starts sniffing the cat.
The cat, like, looks at him and then goes, what are you doing?
You see those videos where a cat sees something surprising and then it, like, jumps, like, 3 feet in the air backwards?
Yeah.
Tak does that, and, like, skids across the table surface, and then just tilts its head to the side. Charybdis just, like, just the widest, goofiest grin appears on her face and says, that's an interesting development. Hello?
Who are you?
Charybdis Mobius, at your service. And she, like, bows a little bit from her seated position.
She, like, turns around and looks at Colonel Harris. Who's that?
That is my brother.
And she, like, looks at Charybdis, looks at Colonel Harris, looks at Charybdis, looks at Colonel Harris. You're the same!
Not quite.
Like a bird, she is sort of able to mimic some speech. She doesn't know many things. She has a little room at the back of my study that I set up for her.
This is fascinating. I don't think anybody's gifted me a speaking animal before. I appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew.
Of course, you're about to go into a very dangerous situation, and you by all means do not have to take her with you, but...
Yeah, that was my next concern, yes.
Before I forget for another 2 years, and he, like, flourishes his hands and then goes, I must return to my studies now.
I will send somebody to collect him. Her? I'm not sure.
I'm girl.
I'll send somebody to collect her when I get back home.
Trust me, she's been in really good care. And then, like, the cat, like, looks at Andrew and does the thing that cats do where they slow blink and purr. And then when he's leaving, she goes, bye, Andrew! And he goes, bye! Bye, Andrew! Bye! Bye, Andrew!
Charybdis just waves a hand, casting prestidigitation, and Andrew just feels like the back of his shirt, right where his left shoulder is, just like warm up slightly, and the faint sound of ticking clocks chimes out for just a brief moment.
And then you just hear the footfalls of going up the stairs, and they fade away. And moving back to those in the dining room, there's a cat here now.
Bruno Harris is gonna go in the library.
So, essentially following Andrew.
Oh. He's also going to the library?
Well, his study is next to the library, so there's a lot, they're also connected by one door as well, so you would go up the same way as him for a solid 10 seconds and then go left instead of right.
Yes. He is going that way.
In Colonel Harris, you see Andrew, disappear into a room to the right of the library. And you know it's the library because it's printed in really big letters on the door. Magically, but still.
Yeah, he's gonna head on in and look in part for things he can scribe into his spellbook, and in part for helpful information pertaining to journey.
Make me an investigation check.
I thought you'd never ask. Okay. Chronal shift. And then gonna be a 26.
Yeah, so you, while not being quite in fancy of Andrew Crowley himself, you do know that they are kick-ass magic users, and there are a few books that you can actually pull some things from.
Nice. And
you also find a storybook, and a lot of the storybooks you found in your travels have usually been a regurgitation of the same one. This one is actually a little different. And it looks a little different in comparison.
Neat. He's gonna look at it.
So the book is basically it's called a Book of Angels Rhymes, and it's there's a bunch of cherubs on the front of it, but they're all really creepy looking, more so than if you already find those paintings and shit Uncanny Valley. This one's on purpose uncanny. It's creepy. All the faces look like they have been smudged really badly. Every single one.
That sucks.
Not only that, but there is, at the very top of the book, what looks to be a marble eye.
A marble eye.
This book is also
Just chilling
covered
there?
in... Yeah, this book is also covered in dust. It hasn't been touched in a ridiculously long time. Ridiculously.
I see. You will skim the contents.
You see that it's just a book filled with, limericks and such, but then you fall on a page that says something along the lines of Fall of Rarendelle, and a lot of the lines of it are blurred out, but then there's one part that says, the scrying mirror and the ghosts it finds.
And the information surrounding it is...
Give me 1 second, because a lot of it's smudged out, and you notice that a lot of the stories are smudged out because it looks like maybe this fucking book was dropped in some goddamn mop water or some shit, but let me...
You may.
I'm typing a thing. I put a thing in references. This is the only part of this bit of poem that you can see on this page.
Let's see.
But this is the only thing written about Rarendelle that you have seen that isn't in every other storybook. This is very unique. It is the first time you have seen it.
Yeah, and it pertains specifically to Rarendelle.
Yes.
Okay. Considering its age, who would be the best person to ask about the origins of this book?
Make me a history check.
You got it.
Don't die, Joey. I kind of like you.
Sorry, I hiccuped. I thought I was muted.
That's not great. It's going to be a total of 13.
Colonel Harris, you don't know much about how old this book is, considering that you can tell it has damages not due to its age. But you think you're about to have a conversation with Nivius anyway, and he might be a pretty good person to ask. This seems a bit too old and fucked up to be something Andrew would have participated in as a child.
Yeah, so I'll have to ask the uncle. Alright, yeah. He's gonna stick an IOU in there, and then take that and some of the more useful resources and borrow them. And... yeah.
Do you go back to the dining room, or do you stay in the library, checking out your books?
You will stay and brood in the library for now.
Alright, so back to the dining room. Maria, Winfrey, and Charybdis, what are you doing?
This is playing with the cat.
I don't know about Maria, but Winfrey's probably 1.5 bottles deep on this free wine.
Make me a Constitution and saving throw then.
For wine? Alright.
No, Constitution check. I don't know. You said bottle and a half. It was really
14?
good wine. Not Maria. Winfrey, you notice that this wine is really strong. You're feeling it a little bit, but it's very pleasant. And you just feel like cherries. I will not elaborate.
I feel like cherries, is that what you said?
You feel like cherries.
Okay, I know the feeling.
What?
And then I would like lottie-dottie everybody in this room to make me a perception check.
I love the fact that Joey was like, what, I've only had 1.5 liters of wine. Why would I be drunk?
Natural 20.
Dog.
To be fair, I myself, Joey, have had an entire, well, actually no, it was a half a bottle, never mind. I thought it was a full bottle, I'm stupid. Maybe I was drunk.
Yeah, that's why you can't remember.
20 on perception.
Alright, Maria?
I didn't want to be in the dining room anymore.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I'll get to you in a second then.
Yeah.
So, Winfrey and Charybdis, as everyone is sort of like left and Winfrey is indulging in wine and Charybdis is indulging in cat, you sort of like both collectively at the same time hear a really weird noise.
A really weird, like, what kind of noise?
It's sort of this echoey, soft wail, just but it's echoey and seems really far away. But very close at the same time.
I know my limits and I haven't hit them yet. What the hell's that?
Charybdis stands up and says, I don't know. I'm going to go find out. And then, I'm going to follow that sound.
Shite. And she's gonna stand up and follow as well.
You stay here. You've done enough.
And then,
Clearly I haven't. This bottle's not out yet.
then both of you hear a voice that sort of whispers from the distance, I want both of you to come closer.
Oh, I see what the deal is now. How about you take care of that yourself and I'm just gonna leave the dining room, yeah? Okay.
Okay. And then Charybdis follows the voice.
Oh yeah, no. You don't listen to anything what talks in your head and says that it wants both of you to come. It's too confident for my tastes and I'm gonna take another swig and leave.
So, Charybdis, you follow the voice?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so you are led to a room that's basically parallel to the dining room.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks to be a very ornate door, and it actually has a plaque on it that has a name that's sort of smudged out.
Talk disappears. I'm gonna try the door.
It is locked.
Spawn Talk on the other side. I command my familiar to unlock the door.
Yeah, you hear little, like, clicks and bobs, and then you see the door, like, wriggle a few seconds, and then it just... choop, and opens up. And you just hear... as the door slowly opens.
Talk is just standing on the other side on his hind legs, just, I did it. Charybdis reaches down and pets him. Says, thank you, my friend. Let's see what all this is about, yeah? And Talk will climb onto Charybdis' shoulder, and Charybdis will enter the room. Can I see? Is it dark?
It's not particularly dark in here. There's light coming in through a window. But you see a room that is... every bit of furniture is completely draped in white fabric. And covered in dust and cobwebs. And the sort of whispering is much louder in here, and it's constant. The weird wailing singing.
Does it seem to have a source within the room, or is it just ever-present?
Ever-present.
Interesting. Are there any torches, braziers, anything like that in here that I could light?
There's a lamp on the other side of the room.
Charybdis points at it. The sigil of a clock appears, and the hands keep spinning back until the last time it was lit.
The light turns on, and then you hear a voice goes,
Well, that was interesting.
Hey everyone, this is your DM speaking, and thank you so much for watching the 19th episode of RollBound. Sorry for the delay with this one, we had some technical difficulties and audio troubles that took a little bit longer to fix, but the show goes on. RollBound's episodes will premiere every other Monday on YouTube and Spotify. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at RollBoundPC for more updates, TTRPG content, and most of all, memes. Also check out our community Discord server for fun discussions, previews of our content book, and more. Link in the YouTube description or on Twitter. We also have a new little mini website available on Card. RollBound's content book, Chassis Guide to Kalmar, is also in the works and set to debut in early to mid-2023. Updates about that also on Twitter. Tune in next time as Charybdis speaks with the ghost that haunts the halls of the Crowley mansion, as well as the party finally gets to meet Niveus Crowley to try and gain entry to the catacombs within Snow's Reach. See you then.